You know, every now and then someone asks me, what's your favorite grape? And I don't always answer because I love all my grapes, but the reality is it's Syrah. This is the 2020 Crozes-Hermitage from benchmark producer of the Rhône Valley, Guigal. We are here for it. We are ready. We are talking about how to become a sommelier, a som. We say it a lot of different ways. We'll talk about it in the episode. It's fine. However you say it is how you say it. And if you got to shorten it to som, that's cool too. We are talking about this benchmark producer because in all of our respective journeys on becoming a sommelier, we have encountered this wine. In some capacity, we've encountered this producer. We've encountered Crozes-Hermitage. We have encountered Syrah. It is a staple, a mainstay of all of our careers. And I think in some ways it's sort of unified us. Maybe Riesling and Champagne as well, but Syrah for sure. So let's talk about this wine. We have 100% Syrah. Oh, yes. Coming from Crozes-Hermitage in the Northern Rhône. Guys, Syrah, if you're not having a love affair with Syrah already and you love wine, well, this might be your chance. This might be the moment that you fall in love with it. If you're already there, well, then you know what I'm talking about because you know that it's impossible not to fall in love with Syrah once you have your first taste. Syrah, a grape that is grown a lot of different places, but I think if we all had to choose in their heart of hearts where we love it the most, it is probably from the Rhône Valley, where it is most famous. And this is such a classic example of it. The Crozes-Hermitage, generally a place that we see a little bit more structure. We're talking about Northern Rhône. We also see Côte Rôtie. You see Hermitage. Crozes-Hermitage, I find, is the little like rustic sister, right? It's the place where we get to see the wild side of Syrah. When we're talking about Syrah, the hallmark characteristics of the grape, you've got always a little bit of that black pepper. You've got smoked meats. You've got black olive. You've got a little bit of that purple fruit. You can get some wild lavender. I mean, it's a meal in a glass. It is your steak and your wine mixed together in one glass of grape juice. And we're here for it all day long. Let's talk about how it tastes. Woo! See, this is why we fall in love with it, because the nose just gives it all away. But then you get to the palate and you're like, wait, it's a little different. The nose, it's violety and lavender, and like underneath of that is a charcuterie board. I'm telling you, it's there. Look for it. It's your salumis. It's your mortadella. Oh, it's all there, and it's roasted and has this sort of chicory quality to it. I mean, you could pick out a million different things from this glass and you wouldn't be wrong. And you could continue going for a million more because that is what Syrah is. It's a super, super aromatic red wine that's got a lot of different things going on. And it's really, really interesting. So I'm getting a lot of that chicory, so a little bit of that coffee, that cedar, that tobacco, but you're also getting that lovely sort of floral thing going on. Notice that great purple color too. Dead giveaway for Syrah. Let's talk about the palate. Okay, so you should be noticing if you had that Brunello, if by chance we talked about that Cantina di Montalcino, that Brunello, you should have noticed crazy, crazy amounts of acidity, right? When you're talking about this wine, when you're drinking this wine, you should not notice it. The acidity is there. It's definitely there. And this is a great food pairing wine, but it's not the first thing that you notice. The first thing that you notice is that it's very base note, right? It's got a lot of those like grounding elements. It feels very sturdy and very strong. Then it has this like sort of ethereal thing on top of it. And that's what I love about Syrah is it can be all of these things. It can be very anchored. It can be very base note, but it can also have a lightheartedness to it. And that's what I think makes this wine and this grape in particular so, so interesting. And the other thing that you should notice is just the texture of this wine. It's soft and it's round and it's juicy and it makes you feel relaxed. It should make you feel like we're at ease, we're at peace, it's lovely. And for me, if I'm drinking red wine in the summer, I want something that, gives you that peaceful, restful feeling. I want something that when I'm talking about grilling meats, I'm outside, I'm with friends, I don't want something that I'm going to need to decant for hours on end. I want something that's going to make me feel really relaxed. And for me, like the Rhône Valley in general, that that sort of rustic nature of France. I mean, that's what this wine really lends itself to. There's a softness to it. There's a seriousness to it for sure, but there's a softness to it. So when you're thinking about what you should be enjoying with this wine, you have to think of the classic, right? You got to go lamb or something a little gamey. If you're for some reason stumbling upon some bison or something like that, great call. But you could go lighter fare. If you were doing a dinner of charcuterie, I wouldn't be mad at that either. If you were doing something that was just, some skewered meats, something very simple, very easy, that's what you should be thinking when you think of Syrah. Syrah is one of those wines that can really be very serious. And certainly when we're talking about Guigal, they make some of the most serious wines out there. The Lalas, of course, your Côte Rôtie La Landon, some of the most coveted, respected, and heralded wines in the wine world. But in a lot of ways, this is sort of the little sister that, it doesn't need the time that the Lalas do. It doesn't need the decanting that the Lalas do. It's just here. It's rustic. It's lovely. And it's just perfect when we're talking about these summertime months. Now, if you wanted to just hang on to this a little longer, if you wanted to wait until fall or even winter, you'd be totally fine. But for me, I'd get a little chill on this. I'd be going to the grill, throwing some lamb skewers on, a little bit of veg, calling it a day, popping this, getting a little chill on it. Enjoy this wine. Enjoy this episode. We'll be talking more about this wine because, of course, we're somms. It's what we do. And we will see you for the next wine.